Every trader carries a backpack. Not the kind you wear on your shoulders. The kind you carry in your mind. And most don't realize how heavy it has become. Inside are old beliefs picked up from losses. Expectations borrowed from social media. The need to be right. The fear of missing out. The dream of getting rich quickly. The obsession with predicting every move before it happens. At first, these things seem useful. Like supplies for a long journey. But the farther you travel, the more they slow you down. Imagine climbing a mountain while stuffing your backpack with stones at every step. Eventually, the climb becomes exhausting. Not because the mountain is too high, but because the weight has become too much. Trading works the same way. Many traders spend years searching for a better strategy, a better indicator, or a better prediction. Yet the real breakthrough often begins when they stop adding things and start removing them. Because the market has a strange way of exposing unnecessary weight. It doesn't reward certainty. It doesn't reward stubborn expectations. And it certainly doesn't care about the stories we tell ourselves. The strongest traders are rarely the ones carrying the most knowledge. They are often the ones carrying the least illusion. In this video, you'll discover why letting go can be more powerful than learning more. How invisible beliefs quietly sabotage performance. And why an empty backpack may be the greatest advantage a trader can possess. Because sometimes the secret to moving further isn't finding something new to carry. It's finding the courage to put something down. 1. The first stone. Imagine meeting two travelers standing at the base of the same mountain. Both have strong legs. Both have enough food. Both know the path. Yet one reaches the summit while the other quits halfway. The difference is not strength. The difference is weight. One traveler carries only what is necessary. The other carries a backpack filled with stones. The strange part is that nobody forced him to carry them. He picked them up himself. Trading is often the same story. Most people enter the market believing success comes from collecting more. More indicators. More predictions. More opinions. More certainty. They spend years adding stones to their backpack. But the market is not a place that rewards accumulation. It is a place that rewards clarity. Every unnecessary belief becomes extra weight. The belief that every trade should win. A stone. The belief that losses should never happen. Another stone. The belief that the market owes something after a streak of discipline. Another stone. The belief that certainty exists somewhere if only the right strategy can be found. Perhaps the heaviest stone of all. Many traders never notice the burden because they have carried it for so long. The weight feels normal. Just as a person living beside a noisy road eventually stops hearing the traffic. Traders become blind to the beliefs that constantly drain their energy. Then one day they wonder why every decision feels exhausting. Why every loss feels personal. Why every pullback creates fear. Why every opportunity creates pressure. The answer is often simple. The backpack has become too heavy. Ancient philosophers understood something that modern minds frequently forget. Freedom is not always gained by obtaining. Sometimes freedom is gained by releasing. A hand cannot grab something valuable while tightly holding something useless. The same principle exists in trading. The mind cannot fully adapt to reality while clinging to illusions. This is why the strongest traders often appear surprisingly calm. Not because they know more than everyone else. Not because they have unlocked secret information. But because they have stopped carrying things that were never useful to begin with. They stopped demanding certainty from an uncertain world. They stopped demanding perfection from an imperfect process. They stopped demanding guarantees from a game built on probabilities. And with every belief they released, the journey became lighter. The mountain did not become smaller. They simply became free enough to climb it. Because success in trading is rarely about adding one final piece of knowledge. More often, it begins with identifying the first stone in the backpack and having the courage to put it down. 2. The rope. There is another kind of weight that doesn't sit inside the backpack. It follows behind. Like a rope tied around the waist. A rope connected to expectations. Most people think expectations pull them forward. In reality, they often hold them back. Imagine trying to walk through a forest while dragging a heavy anchor behind you. Every step requires more effort than necessary. Every movement becomes a struggle. Not because the path is difficult, but because something unseen is resisting progress. This is exactly what happens when a trader becomes attached to outcomes. The market rises. The expectation says it should rise more. The market falls. The expectation says it should not have fallen. A trade wins. The expectation says the next one should win too. A trade loses. The expectation says something must be wrong. Notice the pattern. Reality arrives. Expectation argues with it. And every argument creates friction. The strange thing about reality is that it never loses the argument. Reality simply is. The market does not negotiate. It does not explain itself. It does not adjust its movements to match personal hopes. Yet countless traders spend years fighting what already exists. And every battle leaves them exhausted. Imagine standing beside a river. The water flows in one direction. You can learn its rhythm. You can navigate it. You can respect its power. But you cannot command it to flow backward. The trader attached to expectation spends life shouting at the river. The trader who lets go learns how to move with the current. This does not mean becoming passive. It means becoming aligned. There is a profound difference. A sailor cannot control the wind. Yet a skilled sailor still reaches distant shores. Not by demanding different winds, but by adjusting the sails. The market rewards the same wisdom. Strength is not forcing reality to match a prediction. Strength is adapting when reality chooses a different path. This is why some traders remain composed during uncertainty. They are no longer dragging an anchor made of expectations. They are no longer demanding guarantees before taking action. They are no longer measuring every moment against an imaginary future. Instead, they focus on what exists now. The chart in front of them. The risk they can control. The decision they must make. Nothing more. Nothing less. And the moment expectations lose their grip, something remarkable happens. Mental energy returns. Patience returns. Clarity returns. Because attention is no longer wasted fighting reality. It is invested in working with it. The strongest traders are not chained to what they hope will happen. They are free enough to respond to what actually happens. And that freedom is worth more than any prediction the market could ever offer. 3. The empty cup. There is a reason a full cup cannot receive more water. Not because there is no water available, but because there is no room left inside. Many traders unknowingly become like that cup. They enter the market carrying conclusions instead of curiosity. They carry rigid beliefs about how price should move. They carry opinions they refuse to question. They carry certainty disguised as confidence. And over time, these beliefs become walls. The problem with walls is that they protect and imprison at the same time. They keep new understanding out. But they also keep growth trapped inside. Imagine a gardener planting seeds inside a glass box. At first, everything seems safe. The plants are protected from the wind. Protected from storms. Protected from uncertainty. But eventually the same walls that provided comfort become the reason growth stops. Because life requires exposure. Trading does too. The market is constantly presenting new information. New conditions. New lessons. Yet a mind crowded with fixed beliefs struggles to see them. It sees only what it already expects to see. This is why two traders can look at the exact same chart and reach completely different conclusions. One is observing. The other is defending an opinion. One is learning. The other is protecting an identity. And identities are often heavier than backpacks. The moment someone says, "I must be right," learning begins to disappear. Because being right becomes more important than seeing clearly. The market has a way of humbling that mindset. Not out of cruelty, but out of indifference. The ocean does not care if a captain is confident. The storm does not care how strongly someone believes. Reality always has the final word. The wisest captains understand this. That is why they constantly adjust their course. Not because they are weak, Because they are awake. A rigid tree may look strong during calm weather. But when a powerful storm arrives, it is often the flexible tree that survives. The same principle exists in trading. Adaptability is not weakness. It is intelligence in motion. Every time a trader releases a belief that no longer serves them, space is created. Space for better decisions. Space for clearer thinking. Space for growth. The strongest traders are not those who fill their minds with endless certainty. They are the ones who remain teachable. Like an empty cup waiting to be filled. Like open land ready for new seeds. Like a sailor willing to change direction when the wind changes. Because the goal is not to prove how much is already known. The goal is to remain open enough to learn what the market is trying to teach next. And sometimes the greatest wisdom is not adding another belief. It is making room by letting one go. 4. The sculptor. Most people imagine success as the process of building something. Adding more knowledge. Adding more tools. Adding more techniques. But there is another path to mastery that is rarely discussed. The path of subtraction. Imagine a sculptor standing before a massive block of stone. A masterpiece already exists inside it. The sculptor does not create the statue by adding marble. The sculptor creates it by removing what does not belong. Every strike of the chisel is an act of letting go. Every piece that falls away reveals something greater underneath. Trading follows a similar law. The trader who eventually reaches consistency often discovers that growth is less about construction and more about refinement. Not adding more complexity. Removing it. Removing emotional reactions that cloud judgment. Removing habits that sabotage discipline. Removing beliefs that create unnecessary suffering. The remarkable thing is that the market often rewards simplicity more than complexity. A clear mind sees opportunities faster than a crowded one. A calm mind manages risk better than an anxious one. A disciplined mind executes better than a distracted one. Yet many traders keep decorating the stone instead of sculpting it. They add more indicators to charts already overflowing with information. They add more rules to systems already difficult to follow. They add more expectations to situations already uncertain. And with every addition, clarity becomes harder to find. Philosophers have long understood a strange truth. The enemy of excellence is not always ignorance. Sometimes it is excess. Too much noise. Too much attachment. Too much unnecessary weight. A mirror reflects clearly because nothing is painted on its surface. A lake reflects the sky because it remains still. Likewise, the mind performs at its highest level when it is not overcrowded by things that do not matter. This is why true growth often feels different from what people expect. It does not always feel like gaining. Sometimes it feels like releasing. Like setting down a burden carried for years. Like opening a clenched fist. Like clearing fog from a window and finally seeing the landscape beyond it. The strongest traders understand that every unnecessary belief removed creates more room for wisdom. Every expectation released creates more room for acceptance. Every emotional attachment surrendered creates more room for discipline. The masterpiece was never hidden because it was too far away. It was hidden beneath layers that did not belong. And the journey toward mastery begins the moment a trader stops asking, "What else should I add?" and starts asking, "What can I remove?" Because greatness is often revealed not through accumulation, but through the courage to carve away everything that stands in its way. 5. The lightest traveler. At the end of a long journey, something surprising becomes clear. The traveler who goes the farthest is rarely the one carrying the most. It is usually the one carrying only what matters. There is a quiet wisdom hidden in that truth. Many spend their lives believing strength comes from holding on. Holding on to certainty. Holding on to opinions. Holding on to expectations. Holding on to the need to control every outcome. Yet nature tells a different story. Trees release their leaves when the season changes. Rivers release the water that passes through them. Clouds release the rain they cannot keep. Nothing in nature grows by clinging forever. Growth requires release. Trading is no different. Every loss of discipline begins with attachment. Attachment to being right. Attachment to recovering losses immediately. Attachment to proving something. Attachment to an image of how things should be. And every attachment becomes another invisible chain. The irony is that traders often search for freedom in profits. But freedom begins much earlier. It begins in the mind. A trader who makes money but remains enslaved to fear is not free. A trader who wins but depends on constant validation is not free. A trader who succeeds only when conditions are perfect is not free. True freedom is the ability to remain steady when uncertainty arrives. To remain disciplined when emotions demand otherwise. To remain patient when nothing seems to be happening. That kind of freedom cannot be purchased. It must be cultivated. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast desert. One traveler carries gold, trophies, and heavy possessions. The other carries water, direction, and purpose. The first traveler appears richer. The second traveler reaches the destination. Because survival has never depended on carrying more. It depends on carrying what matters. The market teaches the same lesson over and over again. Not through words. Through experience. Every challenge asks the same question. What are you still carrying that no longer serves you? A harmful belief. An outdated expectation. A fear from a past mistake. A need for certainty that reality can never provide. The answer to that question may be more valuable than any strategy. Because every burden released creates room for strength. Every illusion released creates room for clarity. Every expectation released creates room for peace. And eventually, something remarkable happens. The backpack becomes lighter. The path becomes clearer. The journey becomes calmer. Not because the market changed, but because the traveler changed. The strongest traders are not those who conquer uncertainty. They are those who learn to walk beside it without fear. Like the lightest traveler crossing the longest road, they move forward not because they carry more than everyone else, but because they finally discovered what to leave behind. This completes the weight of an empty backpack. If this message gave you a new perspective on trading, take a moment to reflect on one belief or expectation you may need to leave behind. Sometimes the next level isn't found in learning something new. Sometimes it's found in releasing something old. If this resonated with you, be sure to like and share it with someone who may be carrying unnecessary weight on their own journey. And if you enjoy content that explores the deeper side of trading, psychology, discipline, and personal growth, subscribe and join this community for more insights that go beyond charts and strategies. Remember, the strongest traders are not always the smartest, the fastest, or the most confident. They are often the ones who travel light. The ones who let go of what weakens them and hold on only to what truly matters. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.